Hey guys, welcome to another session. See, the prelims is getting closer, and one of the common fear among the aspirants that keeps coming up always to me is, am I good at CSAT? Am I going to clear CSAT, or I'm going to fail in CSAT? Will I be able to qualify CSAT? Right? See, some feel that they are very weak in math. They have, different background, and others struggle with logical reasoning. Some struggle with data interpretation, and many find comprehension actually as time consuming, right? Because if you get time, it's all about English. I can read, or if it is Hindi medium, Hindi, I can read it and I can interpret and I can get the answer. But the problem is time. But guys, before you panic, we need to ask ourselves, how bad are you really at CSAT? Because only if you understand your actual level, where you stand at this point of time, then you can decide how much effort is required and where you want to focus on other things, right? So in this session, what I'll do is I'll walk you through a practical, no nonsense, 50-day strategy that will help you to prepare for CSAT, and you will confidently able to score 80 plus mark, which is well above the cutoff. So what we'll do is we'll focus on how you can diagnose your CSAT level, and how you can identify your strength and weakness when it comes to CSAT, and how you're going to practice the right way, and how you're going to attempt the paper smartly, and finally build your confidence for the exam. So let's get started. And before we get started, I'll tell you my background. I have scored 100 percentile three times consecutively in CAT. And when I was giving the prelims three times, it was CSAT. There we clear the prelims mainly because of CSAT, and two times I got entire full mark 200 marks, and then once I was in 190s. So that's my CSAT background. But anyway, that's not important. You hardly need to score 66, which any kid at 7th standard level can also get. But only thing is that how you're going to use that 2 hours to qualify this paper. So let's start with the first and most important, the baseline test. Before we make any study plan, you need to take that diagnostic test. Otherwise also, when you go for any treatment or whatever, that diagnostic test is very important. So this is a very first and most important step. So what you can do is pick any CSAT paper from 2020, preferably 2020, 21, 24. So avoid that 2023 paper because it was unusually tough and not a good benchmark. So 2020, 21, 22, 24. Avoid that 2023 paper and solve the chosen paper. Any of this you take and solve that within 2 hours. Give that time honestly, just like a real exam. So this score, whatever you're going to get in that, is going to be your starting point. And see, it doesn't matter if it's low. The goal is to assess yourself where you stand right now and how far you are from the qualifying mark, which is 66.6, and which section as your strength or weakness. So based on this, you will be deciding how much time you really need to give it to CSAT for the next 50 days, which is with you. Okay, now let's move on to time management, the importance of that. Remember, no matter how high score you get in GS, how much you score in GS, whether 120 or 130 or even 140 you get, if you fail in CSAT, if you can't get that 67 mark, you can't appear for mains, right? So ignoring CSAT is not an option, not even in distinct dreams. So in the last few weeks before the prelims, your time was limited. So you have to manage your GS preparation, you have to manage your revision, you have to look at the current affairs, you have to repeatedly revise, and then you also have to look at CSAT also. So to manage all this, what you need, you must have to plan, and you must know how much CSAT paper is enough for you, or CSAT preparation is required for you at this point of time. That you will understand by looking at that solved paper, right? You're looking at the mark, you can understand, you'll get that analysis. So a student who's already scoring 60, may need 20 hours from here. So what you can do is weekly, hardly, you can give 3, 4 hours. But if you're scoring like 30, then you might need 50 plus hours. So because qualifying CSAT is very much important. So that's why I told you that baseline test, the first test that you're going to take to assess yourself, is very important and the most crucial part in this preparation. Now we'll also have to understand the CSAT structure. You have reading comprehension, 26, 27 question is there, logical reasoning, 13, 13, 15 question is there, maths and quant, that's around 40 questions are there. So if you look at it, maths has the highest number of questions, but these are, some kind of probability, permutation, and then basic maths. So you don't need to attempt all. The trick is to find your easiest section. And even if you attend the CSAT sessions that I take, even one simple concept that I teach over there is enough to solve 80% of the question from maths. That AB equal to C rule, if you have seen my videos, with that itself, you can solve 80% of the Agarwal textbook actually, with that one simple concept that we are discussing. So different people find different questions easy, right? So some of you find it speed, distance, time is easy. Some of you find it time, work, and easy. For me, both are same, because for me both are AB equal to C. Whether speed into time is equal to distance or time and efficiency is equal to work, it's actually product of two equal to another thing. That's how I take it. I don't take it as T and T efficiency are all these different. I take it as AB equal to C. Okay, but people divide topics and people see some topics are easy, some topics are different. What's difficult for others might feel very simple for you. So what I want you to do is, at this point of time, I don't want to teach anything. You have to focus on your personal strength. Where you stand good, you focus on that. And now the bigger question is how many questions to attempt. What you need 67 mark. So that means you must correctly answer at least 27 questions with 100% accuracy. Now think about it. Can you get 100% accuracy? For example, you're solving a question on comprehension and you got the answer, you believe that it is correct. But most of the questions are assumptions and inferences. These are the difficult questions to solve, and nobody can predict the answer. There is a famous saying when it comes to the inference questions. The answer for inference question is correct, not because it is perfectly correct, but because all the other answers are perfectly wrong, and therefore the one which is left out is probably correct. So here you're not finding the perfect answer. You are trying to eliminate rest of the answers which are perfectly wrong, and you're getting the one which is left out. So how can I tell that this is 100% accurate? Again, if you look at assumption question, there are some facts, there is a conclusion, you're asking about assumption. The author might have made some assumption which has been given in the option, and you don't know what is the assumption, right? So it's the assumption made by the author. And the more you look at a particular answer choice, the more you feel like this could be the answer choice, this could be the assumption, because you find that assumption as valid the more you look at it. But that may not be the case. So that again, how can I get 100% accuracy? But math, there I can get 100% accuracy, but that's not everyone's cup of tea. So nobody get all the questions right. So what a safe number is around 35 questions with a good accuracy. If you're good in maths, no problem. You can, solving maths question hardly take less than, 30 seconds only. The kind of standard that you're getting in UPSC maths question, 30 seconds to 1 minute, that's enough. And in the first 35, 40 minutes itself, you'll be solving the questions. So if you're good at maths, I don't think that you'll be facing any problem. Otherwise, you need to go for a combination of some of the logical reasoning. You need to pick that areas, some of the maths and some of the RCs also. Okay, so that give you the question. If you're attempting, if you are in that category, if you are, taking from all the three categories and, taking around 35 to 40 questions, that give you a question. Even if some 5, 6 questions go wrong, due to some silly mistakes that you make, there won't be much problem that you will qualify that borderline. So 80 questions and 120 minutes. So, practically if you see 1.5 minutes per question, but comprehension, they often come in sets. So reading once may help you to solve multiple questions faster. But again, a comprehension, these days they're asking one comprehension, one passage and one question. So that advantage is also not there. So what my point is, save time wherever is possible. And if you're good at maths, this video is also not required for you. I'm sure you'll be cracking it. But if you're someone who's struggling with CSAT, then only you need to look at this video so that you don't be wasting this time also, because that's actually not required. Okay, so again, don't spend too long time or too much time on tricky question. Sometimes you may get stuck in a question. Ignore that fast. Okay, so you need to build that SOP, that standard operating procedure. There must be most effective preparation technique for CSAT. So you need to build that SOP. So you need to have that preparation technique also. So for each common type of question, right, you get some pattern, like coding is there, decoding, direction sense questions, time, speed, distance question, clothes related question, calendars question. So here it's very easy. You get the logic, you understand the concept, you can solve it. So build a fixed method for solving these questions. This is what I mean by the standard operating procedure, right? SOPs. So like you can have the various steps, right? Different direction, not the starting point, track the left, right turns for these kind of direction questions. You look at the starting point, you mark it, and you keep tracking left, right, etc. And then you use the simple diagrams and identifying the final position so that the SOP that you follow, and these questions you'll definitely get it correct and with 100% accuracy also. So make these SOPs and keep one or two solved examples for each of these category of question. So these sheets, the SOPs, will actually help you a lot during the last minute revision. So especially in the 3 hour break that you're getting between CSAT and GS paper, during that time you can look at that SOP. These are the standard patterns. These are the questions which they used to repeat the calendar question, right? So how many extra day, based on which how will you solve it, the clocks and the angles, right? The speed distance time, AB equal to C method, which I've discussed. So don't just solve questions. Here, what you're going to do is you have to understand that SOP, observe the method, and convert it into a repeatable process. So similar question is asked, similar method I follow, I'll get this outcome, and I know this is 100% true. This is 100% accurate, right? That's what I mean by SOP. Now, see, watching someone else solving questions won't actually help you unless you do it yourself. So what is required? You need practice, right? Think of it like cooking also. You can make, uh, 10 dosha recipe videos, but unless you actually try making it, you won't remember the process, right? You can, uh, even for me also, I can tell you this is how you need to prepare. But in the beginning itself, I've told you I've cracked, CAT 100 percentile 3 times, and CSAT also I scored 200 twice, and once I was in 190s. That's when you'll actually get that confidence also, right? But for me to discuss about CSAT, this kind of expertise is also not required, because at this point of time, CSAT is just qualifying, not the one who's actually deciding your the prelims qualification, just qualifying in nature. Same is the case with CSAT also. Like, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Reading formulas is not enough, right? If this is a question, for example, permutation question, NPR or NCR. This is how I'll be getting two teams are playing against each other and how many matches are played in total, NCR. Or players are shaking hands with each other, how many shake hands have been made, NCR. So that's not enough. Knowing the formula is not enough. What is required, or watching the class is not enough. Watching the strategy that I'm discussing here is not enough. You must have to get into the field, right? It's just like swimming. How can I learn swimming with theories, right? You need to get into that pool, and you have to actually start practicing it, right? Exactly the same as what required here. You must solve the problems with your own pen and paper, and you have to do it. So that actually builds that muscle memory. The practice builds that memory, so it actually boosts the confidence, and also at the same time it will reduce that fear also. Now, what's the best source for preparing for this exam? Your main focus should be your previous year question that give you the pattern. So do at least last 5 years, 10 years if you can, and this will actually help you to understand which topic that they are repeating every year. So you will identify the pattern. For that, you make the SOPs. So in Z patterns, like as I mentioned before, coding, decoding, that comes almost every year. So you prepare very well on that. That anyway you should be solving. Clock, calendar, and direction question are very common. So any one of this you will definitely get. Speed, distance, time. They always ask. Time and work. In fact, these are two actually, right? So instead of speed, it is efficiency. Instead of time, the time itself. So time and speed, time and efficiency. Efficiency is nothing but speed. There it is. One side it is distance, the distance covered. The other side it is work done. So you think about this as a pizza delivery boy. He have to travel a distance. What is his job? What is his work? He have to travel the distance. So work the same as the distance covered. Now, time remains same in both time. And then what is the efficiency of the speed delivery boy? His speed, right? So efficiency and speed is same. Distance and work is same. Time anyway is same. So efficiency into time is work. Speed into time is equal to distance. Both are same actually. But people learn it differently. That's the only problem. So again, comprehension, if you look at it, the themes are repeated. They ask you database question, they ask you summary questions, they ask you structure question, they ask you main theme question, they ask you inference question, they'll ask you specific inference, general inference, assumption question, right? These are the questions, there is a pattern, there is a theme. So you can simply use any YouTube channel also, even if you're not attending my sessions or any coaching videos, whatever you get, your mentor, and match your learning style. That's very important. So no need to chase the big names. That's not required. Just make sure that you understand the explanation very well and you understood the concept. If it is an inference question, this is a way I need to solve. If it's a main theme question, I need to look at the first paragraph, first line, first paragraph, last line, second paragraph, first line, last paragraph, last line, get the answer, get out of it. If it's a database question, I just need to read the previous line, next line, that particular line, get a summary, get out of it. Right? This is what I need to do. For comprehension, look for the breakdowns of inference, assumptions, the crux and the tones and the structure. These will actually help you to understand the passage and also to solve the question. And remember, guys, focus on your strength, but work on your weakness also. If comprehension is your strength, aim to get 22 to 25 correct answer out of the 27 that we are planning. But at the same time, you have to focus on a little bit of logical reasoning, little bit of math also, like coding, decoding, anyone can solve. Clock and calendars, anyone can solve, right? These patterns you can solve. Some of the logical reasoning also, right? So if math is your strength, then you're actually done. Make sure you don't neglect, even the comprehension part also. Have to look at that also. Fix your weak areas anyway. So don't try to master everything, that's not required. Focus more on the areas where you get which areas will give you higher accuracy. If you're good in maths, then focus more on that because that is going to give you good accuracy also. Also learn to skip questions if you don't like it. If you're not able to do it, skip question. For example, if time and work or probability or permutation question, if it's confusing for you, skip those unless you have extra time. So this is what I want to discuss. And on the actual exam day, what there are, see, first first GS exam, and then you have a break of almost 3 hours, right? So don't try to revise the GS paper or anything at that point of time, or don't try to look at whether you made this correct or wrong. Instead, you have to look at the SOP sheets and the solved examples which I've mentioned for CSAT. Okay, so don't look at what happened before in the morning. Focus on that SOPs and attempt in rounds as you do it in GS also. Round 1, you solve all easy questions first, have a look at it, and then round 2, try the medium level ones, medium questions, and round 3, if time left, and if you have not yet solved that 40 questions, go to the tougher ones and try to solve that. So if a question feels doable but is taking too much of time, mark it as homework or skip it. So guys, don't have that ego in the exam hall. No ego fights during exam. So even skipping 45 to 50 questions is totally fine. Understand that. So you only need, as I told you, 35 accurate attempts, 35 attempts. That's enough. So if you feel that some question is taking your time, just leave it. Suppose one question you stuck with it, and you're taking time. 3 minutes is over. 4 minutes is over. Now you may feel that I've done this much, maybe 1 minute more or 30 seconds more. Keep on going. Don't do that now. Finally, you may go wrong also. The ego will come over there. So skip that. You can afford to skip 45 to 50 questions, guys. Understand? Right? So remember, start your strongest section, build confidence and the rhythm. If you're good at math, start with that area. Just like a cricketer gets into form, right? You too will enter into that flow state, while solving, easy questions first. So when you start solving the areas which then you start getting that momentum. It's like, you start building that momentum and then you can hit harder. So if you start with difficult question, then you might panic, you lose the confidence and it will be difficult. So start with the areas which you find as good for you and your strength, because that's where we need to improve the accuracy also. So there your strategy is to improve your accuracy, but we'll also have to look at the weak area. So build momentum with the strongest area, with the easy question, then move to the harder ones. So what I want to tell you in conclusion is, whatever I have discussed is, you have to take that baseline test, measure your CSAT level, understand where you're standing, assess your level, and focus on your strong area. Weak areas also you cannot ignore, and create the SOPs for the repeated topics which I've told you: coding, decoding, clocks and calendars, speed, distance, time, like that. Practice, don't just watch. You can't simply mug up the formula. Keep practicing it. Practice makes it perfect. Solving is the only way to improve. And use the previous year question as your primary source. And attempt the papers in a paper in rounds, round 1 and round 2, round 3. Skip hard questions when it is required. Remember, you can skip 45 questions, no problem. Okay, no ego should not be there. Just because you spend 4 minutes, I have to solve it. No, I have to leave it. The moment it took 4 minutes, leave it. That's, you can do it as homework. Start with your strongest section, build the confidence, build that momentum, pick up. So aim for 32 to 35 accurate attempts. No need of 80 questions. Avoid stress and ego traps. Smart work is better than hard work. So CSAT is not a monster. It's a manageable paper, but if you approach it with clarity, structure, and self-awareness. Don't fear CSAT, guys. So I hope you will tame it with logic and practice. All the best for your prelims. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you like the video. In case if you're looking for any courses or mentorship program, even after clearing the prelims for mains, you can get in touch with us. So see you guys. Thank you so much.